Hey guys, I'm back today talking about our history curriculum. This is what we use. What we have used in our homeschooling for history. It's varied a little bit. We love to get history books and just kind of talk through history. But one of the frameworks for our history actually is a curriculum called The Story of the World. Story of the World is a history for the classical child. It's written by Susan Weisbauer, much like the book that I share with you in another video, The Well-Trained Mind. And so it was recommended there, and we really like it. And I think the reason we really like it is because it tells the story of history in a way that's palatable for the elementary age child. And I actually enjoy it myself. Just one, because I already like history. I know lots of people don't like it, but I like history. And I think even if you don't like history, the format of The Story of the World is for you. Like, you want to hear history like a story. And so Story of the World is what we like. So Story of the World, you can get several different formats for Story of the World. We always get this. This is just the book. It's pretty inexpensive. You can find them on Amazon. We like this. This is the ancient book. So this is the ancient edition, so it's volume 1, the ancient times. And we also have the next one up, volume 2, the Middle Ages. We're progressing with our children along a certain timeline. So these are the two that we had so far, and our girl is in 3rd, 4th-ish grade. And so I'll start with what we like about this book. Well, one, it reads really easily. There are images, and then it does not tell history just from a American, European view. It actually it bounces around the world and gives you a kind of a taste of history going along in the world at the same time. So I know a lot of times in school you might have European history, and then you might have African history, which I've never gotten to take as a class. Wish we could have. Or you'll have specified histories, and it's one thing to learn all of those things kind of detached from one another, but one of the things I appreciate about The Story of the World is that while we're learning about what's going on in Greece, we're also learning about what's going on in India, in sub-Saharan Africa, and in South America and Mesoamerica. So I really appreciate that about Story of the World. It has helped me to not see history in chunks, but to just see it as one big story of humans and their journey into the world that we know now. So this is the first part. This is a book. You just read this to your child at the initial ages. I just read this loud to my kids 3 times a week, sometimes 4, depending on if we're in a topic that we really like. 3 times a week we read these together, a chapter at a time, sometimes even just a part of the chapter. Story of the World also has the option of this activity book. If you are a hands-on crafty family, which I was hoping we were, but it turns out I am not crafty, I discovered that this is a must-have. If you like to do things like worksheets, maps, and things like that, this is a must-have because it breaks it down so well for you. This includes narratives, it includes maps, it includes coloring pages, and there's also a list with some kind of crafts that you can do. And we like this. I usually make copies of these because I want to use them with my children. But if you are not so much a lesson planner, literally like the lesson from one step to the other corresponding with this is in this. So, I mean, how much easier can it get? In my homeschooling, I'll tell you a secret, I do not like to do a lot of prep work. And part of the reason is because I didn't set out to homeschool to be a teacher in a school building. Like, I didn't think that our homeschool had to look like the way schools look like. I know they have to do it. They have 35, 25 kids in the class, but it's just my kids and I didn't want the planning and the prep part of it to take up so much time of our life that we can just enjoy learning together. So I love curriculums that come with a lot of the planning done for you. And so one of my top 3 reasons for this being our curriculum is how well it's laid out, and that my prep work is limited on this, and we enjoy history, we enjoy listening to the story of the world. Speaking of which, Story of the World also comes in a different format. It's actually on my list of things to get. Story of the World comes in a CD format, so you can actually just listen to the story. We are a fan of audiobooks in this house. We like to play them in the car, we like to play them around the house as we play, and so I think that is a great resource and a great way to learn history together. You'd be amazed at what your children are able to just absorb by listening to the story. And so for our history, this is our format. We actually get some of our history through Classical Conversations, which is a co-op kind of organization that we're a part of. We really like Classical Conversations, and there will be a video on that as well. And Story of the World, I believe, pairs very well with Classical Conversations. Classical Conversations is broken down into cycles. They teach history in 3 cycles, and I believe Story of the World has 4, but they correspond well. I mean, history is history. And these are just great fillers. They fill in some of the gaps in our history and enable us to make a timeline. So our history recommendation, and I say recommendation again, feel free, you're a homeschooler, or you're thinking about being a homeschooler, and I want you to know one of the biggest freedoms in homeschooling is deciding what works for you. We found something that works for us, and we like to share what we find that works for us. But feel free to choose whatever works for your family. One of the things we've had to do with most curriculums is we tailor them to us. Sometimes I'm not all the way satisfied with some of the subjects and how they're broached, but it's not their job to teach my children. I teach them. So we go to the library and fill in the gaps, and we go to the library and we talk about things, or mommy just uses some of her history from her bookshelf and bring it in and bring history to life for my children. History doesn't have to be an intimidating subject for you and your family. It can be something that your family sits down and just enjoys doing and enjoys discussing. So that's all for me and our history curriculum. We've chosen Story of the World. It'd be interesting to see what you choose for your family if you decide to teach your own. Hey fellow homeschoolers, if you enjoyed this channel, please like, share, and subscribe. Also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at To Teach Her Own.